So our next step is to start with the CSS part of the age calculator application. So for that we need to use the CSS file which is style.css. So here inside of that, first we need to reset the default styling of the browser by using the universal selector. So here I will be using the asterisk and then starting the curly brackets of the asterisk, which is a universal selector. So inside of that we need to remove the padding. So padding is 0, and then we need to add the margin. Margin is also going to be 0. Then I am going to use the font family. So the font family that I am using here, Arial. So this is a Arial sans serif font. So you can see now the font is actually changed. If I can just simply remove it like this one. So this will be the font that we are going to use for this particular application, and also you can see the default padding and margin is reset. Then we are going to select the body of the web page, and instead of that we need to add the background color, which is actually a linear gradient. So here we need to use the background, and then we need to specify the linear gradient function. Instead of that we will be using a toWrite, and then we need to add the color code, which is AA7E66. This will be the color code we are going to use for this one, and then we are going to use the FEP47B. So this will be the secondary color. If I control save it, then you can see the intersection of these two colors. After that we need to add the code for the container so that we can set the container to the center of the screen. So for that we need to select the container class, and then we need to start its opening and curly brackets, and instead of that we need to add the width. So width is going to 600 pixel. Then we need to specify the margin property. So margin from top is going to be like 100 pixel, and from left and right it is going to be auto. If I control save it, then you can see right now the container is actually moved from the top to 100 pixel. So if I click on the maximize button, then you can see it is actually at the center of the browser screen. If I come back to the container class, then here we need to add the padding also. So first I am going to add the background color so that we can see the result of the padding. Then here I will be using the F5 and F5. If I save it, then you can see the light gray color. Then we need to add the padding. So padding will be 20 pixel from all sides. If I control save it, then you can see the padding is applied to the container. Then we need to add the border radius for the rounded corner. It is going to 8 pixel. And after that we need to add the last property, which is the box shadow. So box sizing, not, it is actually a box shadow. So instead of that we need to use 0 pixel, then 2 pixel, then the blurriness is going to be 4 pixel, then it will be RGBA, this will be the function name. Then it is going to 0, then 0, 0, and the alpha is going to be 0.2. If I control save it, then you will see there is a little bit of the shadow at the container. Then you can see now it is actually perfectly at the center of the screen. So again, next step is we need to style this h1 element. So coming back to the Visual Studio Code and type the h1 and then its opening and curly pair of brackets. And after that we need to use the text align property. So first we need to align the text to the center. Then you can see the text is actually moved to the center of the screen, and then we need to change the color. So color is going to like 333, just a light black. And after that we need to style this particular form element. So first we have this form group. So we are going to select these form group to stylize it properly. So here we are going to type the form group, and then we need to start its body. Instead of that, the first property that we need to target is the margin bottom property, because right now this is actually a one row and this is actually the second row, because we are going to targeting it. So we need to apply the margin property. So margin bottom is going to be like 20 pixel. So once I specify the 20 pixel, then you can see now they actually space is increased between these button and also in this particular input type and label. Alright, so this is the only single property that we have used inside the form group. So after applying the code to the form group, which is the class, that is this one, this is the form group. So the next step is we need to style this particular label. So coming back to the style.css, so after the end of this form group, I am actually here using the label, and inside of the label, first we need to add the display property, which is display is going to be block. If I do that, then you can see now the input type is actually moved to the next line, which is the next row. Then after that we need to add the property which is margin bottom property. So margin bottom is going to be like 5 pixel, because right now these two are actually very close to each other, so we need to add some spacing between them. Now you can see there is a 5 pixel margin between the label and the input type. And the next we need to add the color attribute, which is the color property. So here it is going to be 33, which is the same color for the heading. And then we need to add the font weight. So we are going to increase the font weight to 600. Then you can see now it's appear a little bit more crisp and bolder. After that we need to add the code for this input type. So we need to select the input, and then we need to start the square brackets, and then we need to start its curly brackets. Inside of the square brackets we need to set the type, not nth type, it is going to be type, and then we need to use the equal to sign and set the double quotes. We need to specify the text. So we are actually targeting this particular input which is inside the form group under the label. So this will be, we are going to style. So the first we need to set the width. So width is going to be 95%. So you can see now the width is actually going to be 95%. It is actually increase its width. The next property we need to add is the padding, because right now it is very small. So if I increase the padding, now it's become a little bit bigger than the text. So now you can see the padding property display its result. And after that we need to add the font size property. So next we need to add the font size which is 16 pixel. And then we need to add the border radius property. So border radius is going to be 4 pixel. And after that we need to add the border property, so that we have to apply a border here. So border is going to be 1 pixel, which is a solid border. And then we need to provide the color. So color is going to be like hash character CCC. So you can see now it has a little bit of the dark gray border. So that's marks the completion of the code for the input type as well. And after that we need to add the code for the button. So here we need to select the button, and inside of that we need to start its curly brackets. And then the first property that we are going to use is the padding property. Inside of the padding, first we need to add the padding from top and bottom is going to be 10 pixel. From left and right is going to be 20 pixel. If I save it now, you can see the padding is actually changed inside the button. Then after that we need to add the font size property. So font size is going to be 16 pixel. And then this is the font. We need to compare the font size as well. Save it, then you can see the font of the button is actually increased. Then we need to add the background color. So background color is like a hashtag AA, and it is going to 7E66. So this will be the background color. Then we need to style the border. So border is going to be none. And then also we need to remove the outline. So outline is also going to be none. And then we need to add the border radius. So border radius is going to be 4 pixel. And then we need to change the color. So we need to use the white color. That is this one. Now you can see the button is actually changed. Also the last property that we want to change is the cursor pointer. And you can see the cursor is actually changed to pointer, like a hand type of the cursor. Okay, so that marks the completion of the code for the button. So our last thing is left is to actually stylize this particular result one, so that it will be look like this particular structure. So coming back to the Visual Studio Code again. So the first we need to add the code for the result container. Result container. So I'm going to check the name of the result container. Yes, this is the class name, result container. Then we need to start its opening and closing pair of the bracket. And after that we need to add the code, which is first we need to add the display property. So this display is going to be none. If I do that, then you can see it is actually not visible. So this property we need to set it to none, but we are going to comment it out, because once we complete the style code, then we need to use this property, and we are going to change this property by using the JavaScript code. And after that we need to add here a margin top property. So margin top is going to be 20 pixel. And then we need to add the background color. So background color is like our white color. Then you can see the color is actually changed. And then we need to add the padding. So padding is going to be 20 pixel from all side. And then we need to add the border radius. So border radius is same as the button, which is 4 pixel. And you can see the things are actually changed inside the browser window. Then we need to use the box shadow property. So I'm going to copy the box shadow from here. I'm coming back to the result container and then pasting the code here, because it is same. The only thing is changed, it is this one. This is actually 3 pixel and this one is actually 6 pixels. If I save it, then you can see now it looks like a card-like effect. So instead of that, we have specified the h3 and paragraph element, and also we have a result container. If I come back to the index.html, you can see here we have this result container as well, which is a division tag. So I'm going to paste the result and starting its curly brackets. So instead of that, we need to add the margin top property, because right now you can see week passed and this age in weeks is appearing very close to each other. So that is the reason we need to add here a margin top property, which is going to be 10 pixels. If I save it, and then we need to again use this result class name, and then we need to select the h3 element, because we need to stylize the h3 element. So we need to change the color. So instead of black, we are going to just lighter the black, means we are going to use the light form of the black color, and then we need to add the font size. So font size is going to be 16 pixels, and then we need to add the result again. So I'm going to copy this because we need to stylize the paragraph element as well. So this is our paragraph element, not a capital one, just a small one. Then we need to close the curly bracket, and instead of that we need to apply the font size property. So font size is going to be 16 pixels, or I can go with the 15 pixels, and then we need to add the another property, which is margin bottom. So margin bottom is going to be 10 pixels. So that marks the completion of the code. If I just come back to the index.html, if I copy this one again, actually show you the results. If I save it, then you can see means the data will be displayed in this particular form. So I'm going to select this whole code and just comment it out, because we are going to generate this code by using the JavaScript code. If I control save it, and also coming back to the style.css, so at the top we have used this particular display none. So I'm also going to uncomment this property, because we want to hide the result. So once we run the application, we want to display this particular structure of the application, and once we click on this particular calculate age button, then we want to display the result, just like in the our output application. If I change the date of birth here, like 15 not a valid month name, 12, and then here we want to add it, and also I'm going to change the year name, which is 2000, and simply click it. Then you can see this is the actually display the result. Okay, so that marks the completion of the code for the CSS part. So our next step is to start with the JavaScript part of the project.